Hello again to another episode of Behind the Curtain. My name is Carly. I'm going to be the moderator for today. If you're watching with us live, welcome, and we would love to see you participate. You can send any questions and comments you have in the live chat down below. If you're watching after hours, we would still love to hear your feedback. You can put any comments on our YouTube channel, again, underneath the video, or you can also email us at info@majestictheater.com. We also just recorded a first reading of Danny's latest play, The Lady Slipper. That's also on our YouTube channel. You can go check that out, give us some feedback there. But without further ado, Christine and Danny. Hey guys.
Hello.
Hey Carly, thank you for so much. Hi Christine.
Hi Danny, how you doing, hon?
Good. And hey, welcome everyone tuning in to another episode of Behind the Curtain at the Majestic. So happy to have you. As Carly mentioned, these things get archived, and so, if you miss it tonight, you can always find it via our website. And I just want to mention, let's see, check my notes here. The one and only Jack Neary is my guest next week, so that's going to be a fun show for sure. I'm sure Jack will have his Red Sox hat on, and all of you folks will recognize him from that, if from nothing else. Okay, here we go. Christine. Hello. Hey, great to see you.
Great to see you too.
How's everything in your world, and what have you been up to? And
well,
are you staying at all creative during these COVID days?
It's really put a test on all of us, I think, to come up with some creative things to do while we're all at home. I know in the beginning, when all of this first happened and we were really housebound, we started playing games again, pulling out the old board games.
Oh, no kidding. Yeah.
Having our nightly games. So I have to say that was pretty cool to kind of reunite. And I think people had the chance to be on TVs and iPads and texting all day, that by nighttime they were like sick of it and it's time to do something else. So I'd have to say that was probably one of the funnest things, is to be able to kind of reconnect as a family and do the old school stuff.
Yeah. Other people I've seen people doing puzzles. Yeah, you lay out on the coffee table or on the floor, even some huge puzzles, 1,000-piece puzzles. That would drive me crazy. I couldn't do that.
I know. When my dad was around, we used to do those, and you get addicted. Like, you're supposed to go to bed and you can't because you're like addicted to trying to find the next, few pieces.
That one more piece. Yeah. That's just, yeah. That's funny. So, I think I know the answer to this question. I'm not sure if folks watching know, but where did you grow up?
I grew up in Enfield, Connecticut, and I am back in Enfield, Connecticut, living in the same house that I grew up in. My husband and I purchased the house from my parents probably about 7-8 years ago. And so back where I started.
Isn't that interesting, huh? Where's your mom? She's such a sweet woman. How's she doing?
Oh, she's doing very good. Yep, yeah. She lives with us.
Good. Glad to hear it. Hey, I'm just looking on our comments. Let's see. What we got there? Lindsay Spring. Do you know who that is?
My cousin.
Yeah. So blessed to hear from Christine.
Thank you, honey.
And then our friend Lee Chambers. What was the toughest character you had to portray and why?
Ooh. I would have to say probably Misery. As you know, I'm pretty cheerful, easygoing person. And the part of Annie Wilkes is maybe just a little bit different than that.
A little different personality.
Yeah. So that was really cool. I mean, it was definitely a challenge, but also kind of really fun to get really deep and down and nasty. There's a picture of.
Oh yeah.
I am. Yeah, that was really something. To the levels of her insanity is incredible. So that's a really, really great part. And you got to dig deep for that one, for sure. Good question, Lee.
Yeah, there's a little side note about Misery. I don't know if you remember this or not. It was Todd set up this thing. It was one night during the run of the show. It was called Misery Loves Company. And do you recall that? I think we sold, we were trying to match couples up, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, it was a singles night.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Didn't work out. It was fun. I think pretty much sold the theater out that night, but
yes,
I don't think we generated any romance.
Any couples?
Because there were people at the intermission wanting to change their seats.
Yes. Oh, that was right. The funniest thing is I had forgotten about that. And then it came up recently about that. And I said, oh my gosh, that's right. Oh, it was hysterical. It was a great concept though.
Yeah. Do you remember the night of the big snowstorm and our cars got towed?
Yes, I do. Yes. Oh my gosh, we couldn't believe it. We all went out and they were all gone.
Yeah. And fortunately, what had happened is our next door neighbor, Dr. Fred Conlon, and we always parked in his parking lot after hours with his permission, of course. And so Misery was in January, I think, when it opened, and we're rehearsing in December. And, so we're at the theater one night rehearsing away, and there's only two people in the cast, and me as the director and the stage manager, I think. So it wasn't a huge crew. And so we decided to go ahead with rehearsal in the snowstorm.
Right.
And turns out it was a pretty substantial snowstorm, like a foot of snow or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
We'd all parked next door in Fred Conlon's parking lot, and got done with rehearsal at 11 or something, 11:30, whatever. We went to get in our cars and make our way home. There are no cars to get into.
Yeah, that was shocking.
And fortunately, I was able to call up Fred. It was even late at night, but he answered. He was kind enough to get on the phone, and I said, "Oh my God, I can't believe he did it." It was this snowplow guy, who regularly plows his lot, who came to plow and saw 4 cars there, and he called a tow truck and had them yanked out so he could plow, and so we managed to get a hold of the tow truck company, and they brought the cars back. So it wasn't too much of a delay, but I remember that one for sure.
Yeah, that was shocking. We were all like, what? We got no cars.
So how did you discover your passion for the theater? What got you going?
Well, I have an older brother and sister.
Oh, no kidding. Did I know that?
I don't know if you knew that. Monique, 4 and 5 years older. They were in the Lamplighters in high school in Enfield High. And so I went to go see them in the shows. And I was just in complete awe of it. And I couldn't wait till I got in high school so that I could do Lamplighters. And I started my sophomore year in high school and got on stage, and that was it. I loved it.
Yeah.
Didn't want to not be on stage. So, yeah, started in sophomore year of high school.
Great.
I really attest it to my brother and sister because
yeah.
they did it first.
Lamplighters, was that like the school little drama club or something?
It is, yeah, and it's still active to this day.
Let's see, Lindsay. I've got some more comments here from Lindsay. Oh, and Allison. Oh boy. Allison says, will you be blessing us with your pipes tonight?
I don't know, Allison. What do you think?
Ooh. Maybe. What I would love to hear, even if you could do it a cappella, is that song from Blood Brothers.
Tell me it's not true.
Yeah, save it. Okay. And Lindsay also asked, what was your favorite role? And then a follow-up, Christmas shows with the family.
We did Christmas shows with the family every year. My meme loved watching her grandkids perform. And so, yeah, I kind of had directing skills back then where I'd put a show together. I just recently posted some pictures I came across of our neighborhood friends, and I used to put together shows in my neighborhood, and we would sell tickets for like a nickel or a dime.
Yeah.
We'd have concession. My brother would do sound. My sister would do hair and makeup, and all the funds that we raised, we'd give to the Jimmy Fund.
Oh, that's great.
So, yeah.
So, how and when did your relationship begin with the Majestic?
Oh, that was a good story.
Go ahead.
Yes. Well, I had heard so much of the Majestic Theater. I had come and saw A Few Good Men. And of course, I had heard so much of Danny Eden with Theater Project. And I came home one evening. This was like before cell phones, because you had to like call a house and leave a message. I'll take a paper message.
Yeah, right.
I walked in and my mom said, "Oh, you have a message from a Danny Eden?" Said to give him a call. And I was like, "Danny Eden called me? Why did you call me? Oh my God." So of course I called you and you introduced yourself and said that you needed somebody for this part of Mrs. Johnston in Blood Brothers that opened in 12 days. And that you had asked around, and like Frank Aronson had recommended me, and Ashley's, I think Doug Major, and you had not, I don't think you really knew me either. Maybe
No, I didn't. Yeah.
you love me, maybe, I don't know. But anyway, you called me and said, "Okay, well, why don't you come in tomorrow, like 3:00, and we'll talk." And so I showed up and you showed me around, you showed me the set. We chit-chatted a little bit. You handed me a script and a tape, because of course that's when we listened to tapes then.
Yeah, cassette tape.
A cassette tape.
Yeah.
And you said, "Okay, well, come back at 6:00 for rehearsal." And I didn't read, I didn't sing, I didn't do anything. I was just like, "Okay." So I came back and I didn't know the show. I didn't know the music. I knew nothing about it. Showed up at 6:00, sat in your office, which it was your office at the time, with Liz Saminsky.
Yeah.
And she just started giving me all my blocking. We just started right from the beginning, and we were trying to block as much as we can. She was just like, at this line, da, 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 da. And you're knocking at the door like half hour in, like, "Come on, we got to get going." Just, "Okay, understood." And then I went out and I just started running it with the cast, and 7 days later, I was off book, and
There's another picture. Now, this was the revival.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was a wild ride, but boy, I am so grateful for that ride, because that was really life-changing.
Yeah.
Sure.
You know, it's funny. I remember. Well, I won't mention names, but our original production of Blood Brothers, hugely popular show, and I remember one night we had this newspaper critic in the audience, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't get a chance to, and I've known this person for a while, but I didn't get a chance to talk with him much, either before or after the show. But then his review came out, I think a week later or something like that, and and his review began by asking a question, and it says, "Well, what do you do as a theater critic when you're at the theater and you see a show and the show ends and the company comes out for a curtain call and the entire audience is on their feet cheering and clapping and you hated the show?"
Yeah, I remember this. Yeah.
Yeah. But
I know. What do you say to that? I mean, Everyone's standing for a reason.
That was a lonely voice.
Yeah, that was really incredible. What a great show, though. It was, I don't know. I guess I committed to it, and I just did it. You just had to do it, And but I didn't know the story. I didn't know any of the music, but it's catchy though, in a way too,
Oh, sure. Yeah,
But
it attaches itself to you.
it does.
What's funny, I was completely unfamiliar with it as well until the Ashleys, Ben and Stacy, came back from a London trip, and
Mhm.
they had seen it there, and they, of course, they went over to London, and this was right after the Buddy Holly story, and here's Ben, and he's getting, sort of royal treatment over there in London from the Buddy Holly people, and
Right.
I figured he'd come back raving about the Buddy Holly story. He came back raving about Blood Brothers. He says, "Oh, what a great show, unbelievable show! You have to, you want to do this show." And so that was sort of the genesis of Blood Brothers at the Majestic.
Mhm.
But yeah, well, no, it was great.
Yeah, definitely. If people haven't seen it, they should, because it really is. It's a great show, and the music is great too.
Yeah, and it's timeless still. I think, that show could run again.
Mhm. Definitely.
So what other shows? So was Misery right after that, or
I'm trying to remember.
Sideshow?
Well, I did Winds of Fashioning Time too,
Yeah, yep,
and Sideshow,
yep.
and always Patsy Cline.
Always Patsy Cline.
Yes. The Ride.
The Ride does it. Yep.
I also did assistant stage manager for Man of La Mancha.
Oh, yeah.
So I changed the scene for that one, but that was awesome to do backstage work.
Yeah.
Did a lot doing that.
Had you done that before at all?
I had not done it. And so, but I enjoyed it. That's definitely another role that I do enjoy. It takes a lot of organization and things like that. So I like that kind of stuff. But yeah, that was really, really good. We had the fake blood that we had to clean up every show and all of that. And that staircase. Oh, do you remember that staircase?
Yeah.
That was pretty phenomenal.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, of course, most recently would be Lacage.
Yeah, yeah.
3.
They're all you got cast in some pretty damn good shows, I'd have to say.
Yeah. Oh, their Sideshow.
Their Sideshow.
Oh, that was incredible. Joni and Amy as the Siamese twins. Incredible. Joni Casaboom and Amy Rist.
Yeah.
Oh, Dave Healy. God bless his soul.
Yeah, yeah.
Frank Aronson was in that one. Master. He was fantastic.
Yeah, that was a good cast.
Yeah, that was wonderful.
Here's a question. It's funny. Whenever we've done a talk back at the theater after a show, someone in the audience will always ask this question, and we kind of groan when they ask it, but it's actually pretty. Well, the answers are pretty interesting. The question in and of itself isn't so interesting, but I've been asking it of everyone now who's been on as a guest with me on Behind the Curtain. How do you learn all those lines? And it's interesting because so people have so many different ways of and processes of learning their lines. So how do you go about it?
The way I go about it is definitely repetition. But it really all starts to make sense after the blocking for some reason. I have a hard time memorizing any lines until I have my blocking. I have to be able to have that relation of where I am, what am I doing, what's the purpose of the scene, what's the message I'm trying to get across, and to really just listen to what you're saying and make it very conversational. so that if a line is dropped, you can keep going because you know what's going on in that scene. You know the conversation that you're having.
Sure.
So I think
do you ever like make a tape of your cue lines and try do that? Or
I have done that. It's not been that successful for me, and I know it is for others because I tried it because other people said, "Oh, this is what I do." Mine is the good old-fashioned running lines. God bless my mother and father who have, they ran lines with me all the time. And it was just that, sitting on the couch running lines.
Yeah.
Just practicing that. And just repetition, just keep, even if it was a page at a time that you had to keep going back until you got it right. That's pretty much how I've always done it.
Oh, listen, here's a message from Marie Sussin, and she says, Danny, can you explain what blocking is? So blocking is essentially where you're having actors literally move on the stage, or cross over to that armchair and sit down. That would be an example of blocking. And then the stage manager always notates in their prompt book what the blocking is. So, Christine's character in when you were in Misery, for example, if you were to go out the door and come back in on a certain line for some reason or another, that would be, that direction would be given to you, but then that blocking would be notated in the prompt book. So hopefully that answers your question, Marie, something like that. Here's a good question from Elizabeth Clayton. Hi, Christine. Are there any roles that are on your bucket list? That's a good question.
Well, I could say any role that somebody wants to cast me in. That's a good question. I'm trying to think. I would have to say, what about Mama Rose from Gypsy?
Gypsy, yeah.
That would be a good one. And Next to Normal is a great part in there. I think would be great to play. I don't know her name though. Sue Durza played her.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely open.
It's interesting. I know people ask me quite often that. So what was the favorite show you've produced at the Majestic over the years? And I said, I don't know, probably the last one I produced,
Right.
They're all my favorites,
Right.
Even the ones I've written, what was the favorite one you've written? Well, the last one I've written. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
Well, I've had the privilege of doing 2 of your plays.
Yeah. Yes, you did.
Yes.
I think we talked about this briefly, but you would say the question is what was your hardest show? And I think you were saying that was Misery. That was a tough one.
But I'd have to say a second would definitely be Winds of Fashioning Time. That was really something. I mean, I did my research on Ethel Rosenberg, but it was her writing, her letters were just so beautiful, and they weren't, what's the word? They were just so eloquent, and they weren't easy to memorize. When I recited them, it wasn't easy to just kind of remember the flow of it because they were just so unique, the way that she wrote to her children and the words that she used and the descriptions that she used in those letters. So I would say that that was really challenging. And to have such a big role and to really never leave the stage and literally speak pages and pages and pages of dialogue. When I look back at that, I'm like, oh my God, I did that. But it was incredible. It was absolutely incredible. You know, yes, I did it, but you know, when you commit to something and you really become, you know, allow that character to become part of you and really dig deep.
Yeah.
Lines are secondary in a way because it just comes. It just repetition, and again, you know what's going on, even though maybe a lot of it was just me speaking it for a long period of time. It's still, I was telling a story, you know. And so I think as long as you really understand and are committed to that character and really become part of that, you know, really allow that character in, the lines come, I guess, you know, which is kind of crazy, but it really is true.
Yeah. Here's another comment from Kathy Ludy.
Hi, Kathy.
Christine, oh, there it is. What was the worst thing that happened to you on stage?
I know exactly what it was. It was during Always Patsy Cline. And I'm not sure, I'm pretty sure you probably saw that one. I played Louise Seeger, which is the best friend of Patsy Cline. And that character really kind of set up each song. And so I would tell a story and it would lead into the next song that Patsy Cline would sing. And I got messed up and I told the wrong story at the wrong time. And I turned and I finished my story and I turned back to the band, and Mark Gianfrido, our musical director, you know, kind of looked at me like, And I'm like, what do you mean, And I think he must have like said something that got me back on the right story. So then I started that story over and we got back into it. But that was terrifying, absolutely terrifying. And I had panic attacks for years over that. Can you believe that?
You did? You had panic attacks?
I did. As an actor, I get in my own head and worry that I was going to mess up, that I wasn't in the moment because I was panicking. Oh my gosh, am I going to know my lines? Am I going to know where I'm at? So I would get in my head and I would overthink things. And so for years, I was having panic attacks on stage. So there you go, for people that didn't know that.
No, I'm sure. I never knew that.
I struggled with panic attacks for quite a few years until finally, I don't remember what happened, but I was doing a show and I just finally said, you need to let this go. You need to just be in the moment, stop overthinking it. You know what you're doing, enjoy it. And I finally had to like let it go and just, you know, enjoy what you're doing in the moment. Anytime you overthink anything, you're going to screw it up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Moment.
Sure.
So good question, Kathy. Yeah, that was terrifying. Horrible. But it happened.
You think that was qualifies as the hardest show or the hardest thing that happened?
Probably the hardest thing that ever happened as far as mess up, you know? People drop lines, but typically if you're in the moment, you can somehow kind of almost feed them their line and get back on course. So I would say, dropping a line, I mean, that can happen, but what happened, especially when you're the only one on the stage telling the story and all the eyes are on you, and then you think the song's going to happen and the band goes, you're like, what do you mean? I think now I would handle it different. I don't know that I would panic about it. I don't think I would. I think with age and experience, I think maybe you learn that it's not the worst thing, and probably people didn't even know.
Yeah, I think oftentimes, when those little glitches occur on stage, unless you get people get completely thrown by it, the audience doesn't really realize that something's happened,
Yeah.
But-
I mean, now I probably would just have like a two, woo, 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 you know, to another story, and I kind of made fun of it in a way, and maybe wouldn't have been so obsessed about it. I don't know.
Yeah. It's like,
Sometimes,
oh my God, I
sometimes
didn't mean
age and
to say
experience
that.
isn't a
I
bad
meant
thing.
Well, audiences are great, and I think a lot of times actors, I think, don't understand this. You know, the audiences are so willing to accept whatever it is that you tell them. You know, as long as it's within the context of the show you're performing. You know, so even if you screw up, somebody could screw up and just turn to the audience and go, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry, I screwed up. Let me back up." And you back up and you'd start over, and they would so enjoy that. You know?
Absolutely. Oh, they love a good screw up.
Yeah.
You know, but it's how you recover from it. You know, because they go, "Oh my God, that's like a real person up there." Yeah. Yeah, it's all real people.
Yeah. How about outside of the Majestic? Got some favorite shows that you've done outside of the Majestic?
Well, one of my faves is Les Miserables, where I got to play Madame Thénardier. It was directed by Jeffrey Flood over at Exit 7 Players in Ludlow. That was really a phenomenal production. Our lovely Ben Ashley was in that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool. That was definitely on the bucket list. I got to check that one off, so that was cool.
Yeah.
But another funny one too, this was outside of the Majestic, but speaking of like a screw up, right? And the audience is like loving it. I did Nonsense. And there's a scene in Nonsense where it's three of the nuns and they're doing a baking with the BVM. So they're at a counter and they're behind the counter and they have a cookbook and they're doing all this stuff. Well, we got so into it that we broke each other up to the point where we couldn't even speak. And we kept hiding behind the counter.
And you like ducking down?
Like literally hiding behind the counter, dying. And so every once in a while I'd say, "Oh my God, I'm Mother Superior. I got to pull myself together." So I would come up and I would die again. And I'd go back down. And I mean, the audience was crying, laughing because it was a blooper. I mean, we just could not pull ourselves together for like 5-10 minutes. We finally did, but it was one of those, you know, my mom still talks about it to this day. She says, "Oh my God, I couldn't stop crying. It was so funny to see you guys up there and you couldn't get, you know, your words out."
So who were the other two actors with you?
Jen Hebert, Marshall.
Oh, okay.
And Marion Carpels. Do you
Oh,
remember?
yeah. Huh.
Did Buddy?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God, we were dying. It was just, but it was funny. It was funny. And I mean, out of any show, you know, it's so audience participation, that show. So it worked, but that was funny.
All right, let me see here. Here Elizabeth said, "Oh, you were amazing in Les Mis."
Aw, thanks, Liz.
And Lee Chambers is dialing in here.
Yeah, tell us about the cell phone.
Went off at the end of Blood Brothers. There was even cell phone then, or she's talking about the revival.
Good question. Was it the revival, Lee? I don't know. I just remember, you know, at the end and singing over, you know, your dead sons, and the phone goes off and you're like, "Are you kidding me?" Like, could we be in any more of like the moment? And
Right.
oh yeah. How many times does that happen though? As much as you say, turn your phones off.
Oh, it's awful. It's awful.
It's just
every night remind them about phones. And got big signs on the doors, and you know.
And there's always that one that just can't do it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny.
Live theater.
All right. I'm trying to go. Oh, here we go. Here from Christine. Who was this? What was the toughest? I'm thinking. I'm looking at this here. Somebody wanted you. Oh, here. Allison says, will you be blessing us with your pipes tonight? So,
Want a little something?
how about a little something from Blood Brothers? Do you remember
Okay.
that? Mrs.
Sure.
Johnson? Because that's my favorite.
Okay. Tell me it's not true. Say we're only dreaming. Morning will come soon. Tell me it's not true. Say I didn't mean it. Say it's just pretend. Say it's just the end from an old movie from years ago. From an old movie with Marilyn Monroe. Is that good?
Go, Allison. This is great. Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, look at, we got some hearts.
Ah.
From Elizabeth. How about a pre-show routine? Do you have anything specific that you go through ahead of getting out on stage?
Well, I definitely, I like to get to the theater ahead of time. I don't like to be last minute Jack running around. It's not good for my soul. I'll get too panicky and stuff. I like to kind of just walk around. I like to check my props, make sure that they are where they need to be. And make sure, if I have any presets, costume presets, anything like that, I just want to make sure that those are all in place. And then I would head to the dressing room and get ready, do makeup, hair, get in our Spanx. The girls all have to get in their Spanx before a show. Gotta hold it all in.
Well, I'll tell you, I've been packing it on during these COVID times. I think I need some Spanx myself.
Oh, seriously. Too much ice cream and cookies and carbs, and it's just horrible. But it's all right. It's all going to end soon, hopefully, and we can all get back into the groove.
Let's see if I got some more questions here. Yeah,
but definitely to add to that too, as far as like doing things before a show.
Yeah.
Once I start doing them, I need to do them every show. So there's a bit of that superstition.
Oh, okay.
From actors that, like, if I fist bump everybody before the show, I have to fist bump everybody before every show.
Before every performance. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
If we, whatever we do before the show, we have to do it before every show. Once it's started, it must continue.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
How about, we were running down the shows you've been in, but I don't think we mentioned the Majestic Divas. Did we mention the Divas?
No, we didn't. That was fantastic.
Did we do that for a couple years anyway?
We did. It was Jamie Liddell, Amy Rist, and myself.
Yeah.
We started the summer of 2000. Oh my gosh. That's
there
awesome.
You are, with Mitch.
We did. We started the summer of 2000, and then we came back. That picture is actually from the Christmas of 2000. And then I saw pictures of where we came back again the following summer of 2001. So I think we did probably, I would say like maybe 3 or 4 shows.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah.
Look how young we look.
Yeah, they were great. The Divas shows. People still ask for them. I mean, it was a good bit of work to put all that together, which I'm sure nobody realizes. But
right.
Yeah.
Right. And of course, working with Mitch. Oh, I love
Sure.
Mitch, if you're watching.
He may very well be. He may chime in here. How about do you recall? We talked about it a little bit, I think, but any interesting audience feedback after the show, or how about did you get even audience feedback during the show?
Oh, I have gotten that before. Where I was, holding a note out or something, and then you stop and you hear, "Whoa, wow."
Yeah.
Patsy Cline had a little bit of interaction with the audience where I would dance with somebody each night.
Yeah.
That was fun. It's always nice to kind of break the fourth wall once in a while. But I'm just trying to think. Misery was probably one of the funnest of feedbacks because I remember at the time my best friend had said, "Oh my God, you were amazing, but please don't play a part like that again because you were really scary." And I was so afraid. So that was, that right there is like, oh, okay, it was successful. If you could scare your best friend.
Sure.
That was pretty cool.
Sure. I kind of remember, wasn't there some, it was interesting, the stage adaptation of Misery. So Misery is a book by, oh my God, come on now.
Stephen King.
Huh?
Is the book by Stephen King?
Yes, Stephen King.
Yeah.
Right. And then it was a film with
Kathy Bates
and James Caan, right?
Yes.
Right. And then it got adapted to the stage, but it was adapted by a British writer, and I think it actually premiered in Britain. If I remember correctly, we ended up getting our scripts from Samuel French in London.
Correct.
But there was something in there at the part where you either break his leg or chop off his foot or something like that. There was some disparity between
the hobbling.
Yeah.
Yes. I chopped the foot off. In the movie, she uses a sledgehammer and smashes his ankles.
Right.
But in the play, yes, she chops the foot off and then cauterizes it with the torch.
Right. And held up the foot, right?
Oh, that was incredible. Oh, the audience, do you remember with the bucket and the foot would fall in the bucket and they just were all like, "Oh my God."
Right.
Well, because I would go up with the real axe and go down, and as I went down, it would go to blackout, and we'd have 10 seconds, literally 10 seconds, to find the bloody foot and the rag. And the guy that I was acting with, Jim, yeah. Yep. He had to fix his pant leg to that special pant leg that covered his foot for that. And then the lights would come up. And so you'd see him with no foot and I'm holding the bloody foot. And then I would put it in the bucket. The audience would just like literally want to hurl. And then I'd fire up my torch because I was going in to cauterize it. It was fun. Yeah. I just recently watched the movie with my kiddo. I finally got him to watch it, and he loved it.
No kidding.
Yeah, he's like, "Oh my God, it's awesome."
You did that?
Yeah. Well, he loves a good scary movie, so it was right up his alley. I kept saying, "I'm telling you, you got to watch Misery. You're gonna love it." She's a psychopath.
Yes, it's too bad we don't have videos of those, so your Ashton could see you.
I know.
Yeah, that would be great. That'd be great. Hey, look who chimed in. Stuart Gamble.
Hey!
What was it like to play Mrs. Johnstone in Blood Brothers twice?
It is a dream come true. Not did I get to live a dream the first time. I got to relive it, which was pretty cool. And of course, to be able to have my sons come back, Doug Major and Ben Ashley, that was just really cool to be able to reunite. You know, I definitely had a different take on it the second time. The first time I was not a mother for real in life. And so I had to dig a little bit deeper and feel emotions, those raw emotions in a different way. And the second time being a mother, those emotions, whoo, they were real. I mean, the thought of, losing a child, your own child, was absolutely heart-wrenching. So both incredible experiences, but both kind of very different in a way. There's Kate Damon coming at me.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
How about stage bloopers? Well, we talked about the one in Patsy Cline, but
yeah. I'm trying to think. Oh, well, I don't know if I could tell that one. I'm thinking of one. Sometimes there's just things you can't share. And of course, I'm thinking about if Doug Major watches this, it's when you used to run in as a little kid into my lap.
Yeah.
Something happened one night.
What happened?
Something happened one night.
Oh, with Doug?
Yeah. And so
you can't go any further? Is that it?
So he's crying in my lap, as a little kid, but really he was dying laughing. When he squatted, maybe he might have tooted. And it was, yes, he's probably going to kill me that I said that, but it was very funny. It was just, things that happen on stage you just don't realize are happening. And we have to keep it going, but boy, we were dying.
That's a good one. Well, there you go, Stu. You asked, so.
Now you have to tell it. Liz is like, now you have to tell it. And Doug Major is going to hate me, but I still love you.
Do you see Doug? Do you ever get down to the city at all? Or?
Oh gosh, no, but I would love to. When things reopen, I would love to do that.
Yeah.
I finally, well, it was so funny because, we finally made a trip to the city last summer, my husband and Ashton, to see some shows because, I had never done that.
Oh, no kidding. Is it a treat for you?
Oh, it was a treat, yeah, but I had not heard the end of it from my husband that I'd never taken him to New York. So we finally went. We had a wonderful time. And then, of course, all of this happened. And so we haven't obviously been back because it's closed down. But yeah, I would definitely love to make another trip. It's fun, and a quick drive in,
Yeah.
Working right in Times Square and voila.
Yeah. What's interesting to me is here we are. Well, we're in Western Massachusetts, but, we think about taking a big city trip, and rather than heading east to Boston, we'll head, south to New York.
Right.
Right. It's like Boston's not on our radar here in Western Massachusetts.
I know. And it's so close.
I know it is. I mean, it's closer than New York.
Right. But I know it is. It's so funny.
Yeah.
And New York really isn't far. Like when you think about it, I mean, it's really, you leave early in the morning, get there in, 2.5 hours, you're there.
Sure.
Especially, on the weekend, maybe not so much during rush hour, but, we went on a Saturday morning. It was easy peasy to get in and out.
Right. Well, how about this? Do you have any advice for aspiring theater folk? How about Ashton? Ashton's been hanging around theaters now for all of his life.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, he is into it.
Is he?
Yes. Yep. He's done some shows over at Exit 7. He did a little bit of work backstage for Megan Lynn Allen when we did it's escaping me. Danny, help me out. No, it's the trailer park.
Oh,
Musical. Yeah, he helped kind of organize props for Megan Lynn Allen, which was nice. She's always so awesome like that, getting kids involved and
yeah, yeah.
So he's done that, and he's been on stage as well and absolutely loves it. Then of course, none of the kids are doing anything this summer with everything going on. But hopefully next summer they'll be able to, get out and do their summer programs. I know Exit 7 is going to be auditioning for Newsies next summer, hopefully, if things are up and running again. So I know that's one of his faves. So hopefully he'll get to be a part of that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. How about other young theater folk?
Oh, gosh, if you love it, then you should do it. The best thing is to just go see theater, see as much theater as you can, and then also get involved with theater. There's a lot of different aspects of theater, and there's a lot of groups out there who would welcome you with open arms. Even if you weren't going to be on the stage, if you didn't get cast in something, I'm always open to saying, gosh, be a part of it though. Be a part of the whole experience. You're still part of that cast. You're still part of that show. You're still going to make those incredible friendships and be able to walk away with some really great experience. And you're going to learn so much from other people, that are a little more seasoned. There is no small part. I have always been a huge, huge supporter of there is no small part. A show takes a cast. And it doesn't matter what part you have. It's important and you're needed just as much as the leading role, because otherwise you don't have the complete story. So it doesn't matter what part it is, it's a part, and you should take it and you should learn from it and grow and, ask questions, talk to people, just... Don't just sit back.
Here's somebody chiming in here.
Hey, Ashton.
We're just talking about you. That's great. Well, Christine, I think I've gone through my list of questions.
Awesome.
Anything we've left out that you want to talk about?
Let's see here. Well, it's not so much about theater, but it is a remembrance for tomorrow, for 9/11.
Yeah, sure.
Sending our love and our thoughts and prayers to all those who were affected by that, for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
It's crazy. It's been as many years as it has, but of course, still in our hearts.
It is indeed. It is indeed. One of the shows that we did, this was with Kate Damon a while back. It was called The Guys. It's a 9/11 play, and is somewhat of a true story, factual story about a fire chief who was tasked with delivering eulogies for several of his fireman brothers who perished in the towers, in the collapse of the towers. And he was somewhat inarticulate guy, really, and he needed some help, and he ended up getting referred to this woman who Kate Damon played to help him write and deliver these eulogies. It was a very moving play, and it was somewhat biographical in that I can't remember the woman who wrote the script, but that was the woman of the play that actually happened. So it was a true story. But
that sounds incredible.
Yeah. The Guys is another interesting, good play. A lot of good plays.
Oh, Danny, I'm just so happy to be a part of the Majestic Theater. It's a wonderful place to be. It's a wonderful place to go and watch quality theater. And it's just a pleasure to be a part of this. And thank you for inviting me on to chit chat. It's really brought back some wonderful memories.
It was a nice night.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Christine.
Thank
And
you.
hopefully we get past all of this and we all get to see one another face to face, other
Absolutely.
than via StreamYard and Zoom and what have you.
Mm-hmm. Stay safe out there, everyone.
Stay safe, wear a mask. Thanks for watching, folks. And Carly, I'm going to turn it back over to you.
Turn it back over to me. Christine, thank you for being with us. And I guess my final thoughts are go check out The Lady Slipper. It was a great production that we did, within the confines of doing theater online. So go check it out and tell us what you thought. Till next week. Thanks, guys.
Bye.